Don't worry, Cindy did your job. I know.
Okay, I'm ready.
We'll call the meeting to order, for the Ravenna City Planning Commission. Tonight, would you please call the roll?
Yes. All right, Mr. Barber. Mr. Content?
Here.
Mr. Hairston?
Here.
Mr. Francis?
Here.
Mr. Seaman?
Here.
Mr. Jennings? Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Finney?
Here.
Okay. Have you all had a chance to look at the minutes from the previous meeting? Are there any corrections or questions about the minutes at this point in time? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
So moved. Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. We have one item tonight of new business. And it's the gentleman, I think I've got the wrong set of glasses. Okay. Tim and Dylan Ellsworth Incorporated. Are you the folks that are here for that? If you come up to the microphone and tell us what you have in mind.
We have the property there at 873 West Main, and what started whenever we wanted to turn the power back on. We purchased the property, wanted to turn the power back on, and wanted to fire up all 3 meters, and then found that the property had sat more than a year, and then it had to go back to the office. I don't know what that's actually called, that we have to go back into the building department, and found out that we had to ask for 3 units again. We were assuming we could just use it as 3 units like it was. So I guess we're here to ask to have the 3 units there again. The house is big enough for it. I've heard about the square footage. People have been talking about that a little bit. It's quite a large home, lots of parking. Like the whole backyard is a concrete parking lot instead of a yard. So there's plenty of parking, so those kind of things. So we're here to ask to be able to use it as a 3-unit again.
Do you want to weigh in at all
Yeah.
on this?
Yeah, there is 3 electric meters, and I believe there was 2 kitchens in it.
Yes.
So the 3rd meter was potentially the owner's business,
Yes.
possibly? Okay.
Yeah.
And what was his business?
He, I think, was running his realty office.
That's
Does
what-
most of it. Yeah,
Real
broker.
estate.
And he had a gun shop. I don't know if he was doing any of that in there, but he had a couple businesses, but I think his main thing was a broker out of there. And that's probably the reason for the parking, the large amount of parking in the back.
So with residential units, they have to provide 1 parking space per bedroom plus 1 per unit. So his request is a 3-unit, and I have to remember how many bedrooms?
3, 2, and a 1 is what we figured out, right? 2 3s and a 1.
2, 3, so that's 6, 8, 9, 10. So you would need 10 parking spaces. All right. And in your packet, there is a simple site plan showing their 10 parking spaces. And it is a concrete backyard. They have access to Maple Lane along the back of the property. And also in your packet, they have provided a floor plan on the 1st floor and the 2nd floor.
Okay, now basically what we're here for tonight is to listen to what you have to say about this, we have to have a public hearing on it, which what would be the date on that? That would be August 25th. For the,
Public hearing.
yeah, the public hearing. Any of the people that are up here, part of our group, have any questions or comments at this point in time? It's rather simple. What the thing is, the hard part is making decision and listening to the neighbors that are there. Does anyone have anything else to say?
How many of the adjacent homes right in there are multi?
I am not sure about that. I never checked to see. And I've heard too about wanting good rentals, and we do. We don't have any other rentals, so we wouldn't live in ourselves. And I was talking to Finney about like what we were gonna do to the outside and, make sure all of our soffit, fascia, no peeling paint, because we're actually a lead abatement contractor. I'm a contractor. We are, my son and I, and then we have some rentals. So we keep our properties in good shape. You've probably heard about all the lead abatement things going around and everything, so we keep ours in good shape. So we think we do have nice rentals, and we're gonna fix up the whole outside of the property also to make it look nice.
So my question is, who is EE LLC?
Well, with real estate or anything, you put your properties in LLCs, and so you put a few in this one, a few in that one. It's just, holding company, that.
You and your son?
It's just me and my son, yeah.
I know,
That's, we're not like an out-of-state or anything. All of our general contractors, a lot of people that know us in and around town and that, and, we pull permits in town too. Yeah, we're a local company. Everything we have is in Portage County.
I believe to the answer of the adjoining properties, I went back there today to take a look, and I think the one directly to the west is a multi.
Could be.
There's several cars parked around the back of that, so I know that probably is a multi. And then just a few more spaces west is a large kind of brick building, that's a multi as well.
Yeah.
So I know those two.
I was thinking the one next to it and the two after, but I didn't want to like
Yeah.
overspeak and say
Yeah.
something that's not true, but
That
I
was
think
just my
there are
observation.
some, yeah.
We'll provide that information next week, next
Yeah.
month. We have that, I don't have it with me.
Any other questions? Anyone in the audience have anything to say?
Larry Selenius, 123 North Walnut. I heard you mention the count of kitchens. Does each living unit require a kitchen?
If they're considered apartments, then yes, they would. If it's a rooming house, they can share a kitchen, but their proposal are dedicated apartments. They will have their own separate kitchens and facilities.
I don't know where to start. I've been watching here in the last several weeks, in this summer, the situation in our town with rentals. Not too long ago, last week, we had 10, 15 people sleeping in the backyards of rentals. Okay. We have other problems right now that was raided by the sheriff department, and they've all moved over to someplace else. Everybody sees the problem we have here with rentals. I'm tired of it. I'm really tired of it. I'm tired of my tax money going to take care of the problems that these rental units cause in our city. I'm so angry I can't talk. It really, I'll wait for the next time and maybe I'll take something to calm down. But I would suggest that you really look at this close. And we don't need any more 3 units, no matter how many parking places there are there. There's some people here that own one guy that owns a property here, and he's had over 600 calls to the police and fire department in the last year. Okay? We don't need this. And I'm really kind of insulted that it appears that a lot of people don't live in our city, buy the properties to make money, which is fine, but they want to make more than really maybe is necessary here. It's a 2-unit. Let's keep it that way. I'll be back on for the hearing, and I'm sure I'll have more people here then.
Carmen Lodato, 222 Madison Street. I apologize, I thought the meetings were still at 6:15. I guess now that I'm not up there asking 20,000 questions, there's no need to do anything different. But anyways, this property is actually directly behind my house or in front of it, whichever way you orient yourself. I technically live on Madison, but the driveway to my house is on Maple Lane, and it shares the driveway with what would be going to this 873 West Main Street. So this would impact me. I would ask that the Planning Commission consider denying this conditional use certificate. As Mr. Solo, for what I heard of his comments, has talked about these persistent problems that we have, I do not believe that that property is large enough for multifamily. And that's just my perspective as somebody who's going to neighbor this particular property. The other thing I would ask Planning Commission to consider is that in my planning committee on council, we have started discussion about changing some of the codes that pertain to multifamily housing because we do have so many units within the city that are cramming. There's just not enough square footage for how many people they want to fit into these spaces and in these residentials. So I would ask, if anything, that the Planning Commission would, if you're inclined to approve it, to delay it so that we have time to let that process play out and get those codes and regulations in place. I've also taken some time to visit another property when I sat in your chairs. This person came and had a unit behind Circle K, and I have visited it a number of times over the past month, and maybe it's cleaned up now, but for a while it was a dump. And, you know, I and the neighbors that surround it, we put a lot of time into our yards and into the appearance of our house and our neighborhoods, and this is not something that I would like to be invited in. Because even though you can't, I used to be a landlord, I know that there's only a certain amount that you can control, the people that are in there, but there is some type of control and some type of an enforcement, which I don't see happening at the other property. So on the basis of what I mentioned about the property that always exists as a that already exists as a multifamily by the same owner, the fact that council is considering changing, looking at the multifamily and what we're allowing as far as square footage to make sure, and that's not even so much as a protection for me, but for the people that rent these multifamilies, that they are ensured that they do have enough space, and thinking more about what that livable space means. And also for the fact that I live right behind this, and this is not something that I want in my neighborhood because we have enough problems. with these things where I'm at, and I just don't want to see more added onto the pile. So thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, what we're voting on tonight is to go to the public hearing. Yes, go ahead.
Go back up or no?
Yeah.
You can.
The one property, we could have all of our properties around there to go to all of them. The one property she's talking about, I just talked to Mr. Finney about that we're just gonna have to write up or figure out what to do. The daughter is having junk around her. That is our only property that looks like that, we keep saying, and she, I don't know, she puts junk in there, but we don't like having our properties look like that either. And then this property, you couldn't even see it, the 873. You know, we're making that whole property look nice. It was a wreck for the last probably 15 years. But, you know, if you went around all of our properties are in nice shape, and the ones that are on PMHA, you know, you have rights both ways. We're allowed to turn them in for having trash and everything. So that one property is the only one, and I actually talked to Mr. Finney about that yesterday, or whatever day that was, yesterday, the day before, that we are gonna rectify that and figure out what to do. That's our only property that happened, that we could show other properties in there. That we do try to keep it nice.
Anything else?
So again, if Planning Commission agrees to move it to a public hearing, then next month there would be a public hearing, and with further discussion if necessary or needed or desired.
Is there a minimum square footage?
There is. It's 550 square feet for multifamily. If it was a duplex, then it's, I believe it's 750 square feet. But it actually does not show that in the C1. I know in R4 it does show 750 minimum. But in C1 it just has multifamily minimum 550 square feet.
What is this first apartment? How big is it?
Are you guys able to answer that?
I don't know the exact square footage of it.
It's pretty darn small.
But you could have that for
We
the,
would have to, if it's off a little bit, we could make it to the 550 or something like that, yeah.
okay.
The bed and the living room are 276, so
Pardon?
276 for the bed in the living room, according to 11 by 12 and 12 by 12.
Oh, sure,
So the
sure.
remaining is, would be 274, but I mean, this image, I don't know how accurate it is. Doesn't appear that it would
And that,
satisfy that yet.
that could be your request. If this goes to public hearing, that could be your request to provide that information.
I wanted to speak if I still could. Is that okay?
Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to speak on the behalf of the residents in the neighborhood. The yard is completely not big enough for a three-family. I'm also on city council, and I thought the meeting was at 7, so I apologize. I'm a little out of breath running to get in here. Anyways, I remember when the individual got conditional use on his last rental property, and for some time, that property was a hot mess. And I have pictures of the property and the junk and the trash, and it's just a small little home. Now, if we add a 3-family home into a neighborhood where there's not much yard, I am terrified of what is going to come there and how it's going to be taken care of by the landowner. So again, council does put these checks and balances in, and I hope that you guys that live in Ravenna care about our community. We're trying to clean it up, and our property maintenance right now is overloaded. So if we don't have people that want to take care of their properties, we should not be offering conditional uses. Thank you.
This gentleman, the gentleman did address that before you came in.
Since there's 2 members of council here, it makes it a little easier. you've requested that we put on the brakes or hold up. What is your timetable for getting to where you're resolving your part of this? Because my understanding and what work I've done here to this point is there's a code and we're bound to work within that code. And from my viewpoint at this point in time, this gentleman is doing everything that's within that code. I mean, we're in the same neighborhood, so I get the rental concerns. Mr. Soto, I get your concerns too, although I think you're putting two issues together, but we can talk about that later. But if you're asking us to put the brakes on these gentlemen, what is your timetable? I mean, you can't just put them out in left field and forget about it.
The next planning committee meeting is on the 10th of August. And it's on my agenda. So I can't make predictions of where it would go from there. And I
Carmen,
haven't seen the blueprints, but from what was mentioned, that it sounds like it's even smaller than the 550 square foot requirement. But I mean, what it is too, is that even though you live in the neighborhood per se, you're across the street in a different area. This is something that's gonna be right behind me.
Carmen,
And so
what-
as somebody who is going to live in an adjoining area, I have a lot of concerns.
what are your thoughts for the planning committee discussion in August?
To expand the square footage.
Okay. All right.
That was going to be the discussion.
Okay.
And like I said, this is just based on, I know it's a tough thing, right, in planning commission, because the years that I sat up there, there's lots of people, applicants who come and say that they're gonna do all of this stuff. And then the thing is once that certificate is issued, I would say more often than not, people don't live up to whatever they promised us. And so it's just, I guess it feels a little different because I'm very proximally located to this issue. So we do have it for the August 10th Planning Committee meeting. I do not, and I'm sure people have been on with me on council long enough, I don't like things sitting on my committee. I don't like to play kick the can down the road. I like to put things on, have the discussion, and move it forward onto the next process, wherever that is. So I can only say that much. My prediction would be that if it went to committee of the whole from there, that it would be something that would be in the fall, like October, if it went to different reads. But based on the square footage, if we don't even have the square footage, I mean, I guess that's something that would be waiting till the public hearing. But it's less than 300 square feet, from what I heard, 276 square feet. That's just a little over half of what the minimum requirement is now. That is not a livable space for an apartment. So does anybody have any more questions about where we're at with this process and going through those types of
You
things?
answered my question.
Okay.
So I just want to remind all of you, you guys are there to represent the city of Ravenna, and some of you have ran for office, some of you may run for office. But just remember, you all say you're here to clean up neighborhoods. You want to make Ravenna better. Well, you're sitting up there, and it's a very important position. We need you to make the right decision for our community. We can only do so much. It's a team effort, and it's frustrating seeing these multi-family places come into neighborhoods. I don't know how you expect our schools to get better with these types of places coming in. I don't know how you expect neighborhoods to get better. The police department, the schools. I can tell you right now of 3 places that are major burdens on our city because they are multi-family. They have 3 and 4 owners or tenants in a home that was made into a multi-family. You are creating a nightmare on the west end of town. And the west end of town is already going down the hill. So you say you live on the west end of town, well, just imagine all the things that are coming because our property values are going to start decreasing. We are getting nothing at the west end of town, but things that attract slum and blight, basically, in a nice way. So if, in order to start getting things that, that have some type of value, we have to stop these multifamilies. So again, it's in your court, it's not my court. I can do what I can and what I've told the people I will do, but just remember, it's on record.
Okay.
One more question probably for Mr. Finney. It was brought up that at one point there were 3 electric meters there. Does that mean that that had 3 units at one time?
We believe it did, yes.
Okay. And obviously there's rules about if it's not a 3-family, we've changed the rules for that at some point, where if it's not, somebody's not living in it that way, it reverts back to the 2-family. Is that correct?
No. In the R3, in the R3 zoning district, that would be correct. It's single family and it's not conditionally permitted,
This is commercial though.
but this is C1. And again, C1, the very first item under conditionally permitted is multifamily residential dwelling subject to 127404. That's why we're hearing this tonight.
So by commercial standards, you're allowed 3 in there. Is that what you're saying?
Multifamily.
Multifamily.
Could be 2, could be 4, not allowed with conditional permission.
Obviously,
there's-
square footage
there's-
and,
yeah.
and everything else that goes with it.
That is correct. There's other items, square footage,
Okay.
parking, that sort of thing, access to the property.
So, going back again, a few months ago, we had a place that, up on Chestnut Street, that had been a 3-family at one time, and it had been quite a while without it being 3-family. And it came to you, this group, and turned it down. And then, as I remember, it went to zoning, and they okayed it for the 3. That was because that's a different zoning there, up there, the way they did that.
That was R3, I believe,
That was still R3 up there?
at that, R3 or R4, one of those two. I think, seems to me it was R3,
Okay. Okay.
but.
Anyone else? Yes.
Hi, my name is Barb Niemiller, and I live on West Riddle. And I moved there from Summit Street by Carlin Elementary, Highland School. I lived there for 57 years. I went there from birth. And I loved this house, and I wanted to make a change, but I kind of wish that I could have the house I live in now on my Summit Street property because of this kind of situation. It's nothing personal, but, you know, I pulled some numbers, and it says from the last census that homes in Ravenna are 53% renter occupied. I had heard higher at some point, so I wanted to find the real number, and I got that from the U.S. Census Bureau, 20 to 24. And then it broke it down into numbers, and in Ravenna, it's 7.3% of 3+ units. And I believe in order to make some changes in Ravenna, that we start limiting that. Because I have neighbors that they don't have room for the children to play. They're packed in there. I just feel like we have about 3 main issues that I think we could make changes to make Ravenna better. I love it. I stayed. I could have gone someplace else, but I stayed here because I care about it. I took off for 2 years to Florida, but I came back. And it's just, I noticed so many differences on the West End. And I'm ready to help make that better too, but I just think that if we don't start somewhere in limiting how many apartments we have in a house, it's just gonna continue to be rentals, 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 and people move in and out, and they don't get to know the neighborhood, and they don't really care about the neighborhood. And we have a difference here rather than Kent State, where there's students coming in and out. You know, these are folks that are, I don't know, I don't think they're jumping around. I think they're coming from out of town, which is fine. New blood, fine. But they just don't seem to stay in these multi-units. And that's just my concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? So the issue before us tonight is to vote on the public hearing. At this point in time, I'll entertain a motion.
I have a question. Does it have to go to public hearing? Can we stop this now, before it goes to public hearing, and vote it down?
Yes, yes, you can.
If there's no motion and no second, then it dies for lack of
Right.
support.
Gotcha.
Is the question 3, or is 2 not acceptable either? So if it was 2, it's a different conversation.
And the problem is verifying the square footage, correct?
We did just add that up. We didn't have a graph there. It could be changed a little bit. It's 495. It's, we got rough numbers on there. It's 495 for the front, 744 for the other one, and the upstairs is 960. But we were unaware of the 550 before. We just learned that 550 is a number. Yeah, so we were, well, yesterday, but we.
Do you have any comment for us about what you've heard from our council people, what their concerns?
Well, for cleaning up, I did address that with Mr. Finney, but that one other property is killing us. We take care of our properties, and even like that, we're cleaning the whole backyard. That thing's been a wreck forever. You know, you look to like the west of there, we're gonna be way nicer. That one, the one directly south, they got junk in the yard and everything and that, and we're gonna keep it nice. Our properties are, you know, if wanted him to check out a couple of our properties. We do keep them in nice shape, and I don't know, that one property's killing us. That yeah, we're trying not to be mean. Helping his daughter, and yeah, we're gonna rectify that as quick as we can. We're not gonna have that labeling us forever. That is us, because that house is not us. You know, that is not what we want to be perceived as. It's not like our other properties. Even like that one, we fixed it up, we put a new roof on there, we cleaned everything up around it, and we made it a nice property. You know, everything inside was redone and everything, you know, like doors and trim and everything to make it a really nice rental. And
What do you do to vet your rental people?
we do make sure they have good credit. That person is actually manager, I don't know if I'm supposed to say where he works, but he manages a company in town. He has good income, but he's helping out his daughter, and his daughter is kind of messing us up a little bit. She's trying to do some scrap or something, and again, I keep saying, I told him yesterday, we're gonna get that figured out, because that is not the way all of our other properties are. And I mean quickly, too. Probably gonna stop by there after this meeting and say, you're putting a hurting on us. Yeah.
So we don't know what the square footage is. Correct.
You said it's
Approximately 495 on the front, but we can make the 550 easy enough on there. 744 on the other one on the lower level, and 960 on the top.
Yeah. So obviously, you're in the rental business to make money. I understand that. But if you were to incorporate the front unit with the back unit and turn it into one unit, then you would end up with potentially a 3 or 4 bedroom.
Yes.
How does that fit in your business formula? I mean, 4 bedrooms can rent for a pretty high dollar too.
Yeah,
And then you almost could split your front door and the side door specifically for the upper unit, front door for the lower unit, sort of thing. You know, it appears that this is the direction council will be going. They're going to raise the square footage price, or square footage, from 550 to some much higher number. So I can understand what council is. I've had this conversation with Carmen in the past. And as Mark has said, this is currently our code. If council is in the process or desires to make changes, then planning commission could hold off for 60 days. That also is written in the code. And then rule again. Council can condition the proposal as they see fit. That says it in the code too. So if you decide to not move this forward, then Tim can bring this back in a month or two and with a changed proposal, if he desires. That's another option, I guess you could say. If you decide to move it forward to the public hearing next month, you still would have the opportunity to delay it for 60 days for more information or until council would potentially change the code. If they were going to increase the number, then it may require Tim to make 2 units instead of 3 with the increased square footage. Those are really
Making it
options.
2 instead of 3 would also alleviate some of the concerns of multiple families with multiple children or siblings or whatever, the traffic and the whole.
Oh, sure.
mess.
Mhm.
Less
Yeah.
cars,
Correct.
less people.
Not necessarily less people, because more bedrooms add more people.
Well, but I mean, as far as,
Right, but you're right.
and the higher you make the rent, the higher the quality of people you have as well.
We hope so. Yes.
No guarantee.
What's the pleasure tonight? You wish to wait? I guess it should be in the form of a motion.
I will make a motion that at this time to give these folks a chance to get all their ducks in a row, for city council to get a chance to get through their process, that we put this question off for 60 days.
You have a second?
Second.
Call the roll?
Yes.
And no public hearing, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Mr. Francis?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Content?
Yes.
And Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. At this point, there is nothing else on the agenda. There's no old business.
We need to excuse Jonathan.
Yes, could we have a motion to excuse Jonathan?
And
So-
and Mr. Barber.
Bill Barber also.
So moved. Second.
Okay.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, they are excused.
Okay. And then adjourn.
Okay, no old business. Motion to adjourn.
Barber and Jennings.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're adjourned.